This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started.
Hi, heroes. It is I, Charlie the Professor Esser, welcoming you, individually you, yes you, right there, I see you, I hear you, welcoming you to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie the Professor Esser, which I've already said, and with me, as always, is
my skinny rich
friend. Not my skinny rich friend,
I know.
but my bashful, blue-eyed bon vivant.
Fill me and Perich.
And that's Tristan doing in the peanut gallery. Hey, everyone. Hope you've had a good week since we last had the talk. Philip, did you have a good week?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much? Okay, yeah, you know. Phil lost power earlier today, so, you know.
Yeah.
I know that is horrible when you lose your power.
Crushes my soul.
Yeah, well, you know, I'll be honest with you. You know, when Hurricane Sandy hit several years ago, we lost power. And it's like when the power came back, we still didn't have Wi-Fi. We still didn't have cable. Turned out I actually just had to push a button on the box to reset it.
Oh.
And it's like no one told me that. And it's like my kids had gone like 2 extra days without Wi-Fi. And it's like, curse you, me, for not calling them and saying, hey, what is there something I can do? It's like, well, did you try turning it off and turning it on again? It's like, no, I actually hadn't yet because I was stupid. So there you go. Even a professor does not know everything. Remember that. Next time your professor gives you an F. Okay. Philip, let's talk movie news.
Yes. A little bit.
A little film came out this week called Spider-Man Far From Home. We're going to get to that in a minute, but we're not going to give any spoilers for that. Because if you want the spoilers, kids, you come back to Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks. Scroll down or up. I don't know how they post these things, but we're going to have a big, beautiful review, possibly with the great Maz Manzoor joining us.
Oh.
Yes. Wait for it. To talk about what all the things that are there. We will do a little bit of touching on it, and we're going to talk about anti-spoilers for Far From Home tonight. Mm-hmm. So just to give you that warning right now. And we'll get to that in a minute. But one thing I do want to talk about is the re-release of Endgame. I know we discussed this previously, the idea that Endgame was being re-released. I know everyone says, oh, that's a cash grab. They're just trying to beat Avatar. Here's the thing. Avengers actually beat Avatar for its first release.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they're both competing for the re-release.
Mm.
And Avengers hadn't actually left the theaters yet.
Mm-hmm.
There are still many theaters that still have Endgame. I think I said Avatar there. But Endgame has not left the theaters yet. So I do think Endgame will eventually win. Because right now it is literally just, you know, it's dollars separating them. It's like not like, oh, they're $1 billion ahead. It's like, no, they're like a few. They're like someone bought an extra popcorn at the theater ahead, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's that. But I do want to talk a little bit about what we did get in the re-release.
Was it just like end credit stuff?
I actually think it was. And I'm like, although what's weird is I'm watching it and you know, it's one of these things. I'd seen this movie several times already, but I'm like watching, like, what's different? What's different? What's changed? Like, and at one moment I'm like, oh wait, did they cut that? Did they change that? Did they do a different edit on that? And no, I really think it's the full movie, just as it has always been. And then at the end they give us a nice. And first up, we open with a little talk from Russo. We get another talk from Russo at the end. And then we get that very nice tribute to Stan Lee. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care who you are. That tribute to Stan Lee was worth it. Yes, it is a freaking 3-minute YouTube montage. But it meant more here.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. It's like, you know, if they just thrown it online and said, "Yeah, here's Stan Lee."
Yeah, but behind this thing, I mean, it's the biggest live action thing they've ever done with his characters.
Well, yeah, and it's really lovely. And actually, one thing I am going to say a little bit. This is a spoiler. There is not a Stan Lee cameo in Far From Home. Okay. And I was actually reading an article on this, and they were basically saying, look, we were getting there. Obviously we wanted it, but we also knew where Stan was at that. And, and it really shows that for all of the story that is out there about Stan's caretakers, the people that were helping him through this, the actual community that he lived in actually was still very aware and very kind and very loving to him. Although, as I always say, I always think that that's a delicate thing. This is one of the more complex things about elder issues. Mm-hmm. Is that, you can say, how can you make that old man work so hard? But, anyone who had a workaholic dad like I did knows, sometimes it's trying to get that old man to stop working. Mm-hmm. To say you don't have to do so much. And I kind of feel there was probably a part of Stan who was like, look, as long as I'm alive, I'm the breadwinner of this family, and I'm going to do every dang convention. First off, because I do love to meet the fans, and I do love to sign my name. I'm going to keep on doing this as long as I can until I'm in a box. I can believe that was a part of who Stan Lee was. Now, I don't know that's to be the case, and that doesn't mean that people didn't take advantage of it. It's not to absolve other people of that, because you can do a very leisurely, let's just do San Diego and New York, we'll do a nice leisurely. We don't have to we'll hit Chicago too, just so we can see Rep Southgate, because we love him. But,
don't we all?
Yeah, everyone loves Rep Southgate. Great man.
But I think it was just like a combination of those. I think there were people trying to take advantage of him, but unless it was just acting, I think Stan really enjoyed a lot of that stuff.
No, I think he enjoyed all of it. I think like every old person you have to take the driver's license away from, he was like, no, I can do this. And and that last tribute to him, honestly, I feel see the love that everyone had for Stan Lee.
Oh yeah,
that was worth my extra $6. That was worth $6 on a Sunday matinee to come out and see. Hey, honestly, not for nothing. If they had said, "Hey, it's $6 to see a really, really well done, loving Stan Lee tribute with all of these actors who truly cared about this man," I'd say, you know what, that might be worth it.
Oh yeah.
And they give me the Endgame, and they have Shrek Hulk, but that I think was maybe not the best idea.
Why?
Well,
just the appearance, his appearance, or something else?
Because it is Shrek Hulk.
Okay. Well, I think that's
you know what? I'm going to tell you right now. I think it would have worked better to see Russo in the suit or Russo's stunt double in the suit and the leg extenders in that scene doing it, rather than and actually I say it's Shrek Hulk, but Shrek was so much better animated than that.
So would you have bought it then? Would you rather if the Hulk looked exactly like he looked like in the first Avengers movie, but he had Banner's voice and personality?
Well, I mean, what I would have liked is I would have liked his lips to move. I think that's what really bugged people, is that as the Hulk's lips are moving in that scene. Oh, by the way, spoilers if you haven't seen the re-release of Avengers Endgame yet. That because he's not moving his lips, it really takes you out of it. And obviously, this is the scene that shows us that Hulk is now a superhero.
Yeah.
And on a lot of other levels, I think you could have done this better with a talking head scene, rather than showing him jumping in, putting everyone into the satellite dish, jumping out of the building. But there are some wider issues with the way they handled Professor Hulk in Endgame. I'm not going to say that Endgame is 100% flawless, I will say that there is an untied knot in every product because only God can be perfection.
Mm-hmm.
That if you tie every knot, then it would be perfect, and you are saying you can be perfect when only God can be perfect. So you must leave one knot untied, so that it will in time unravel, and you can say, "I am not God." It's the thing about Persian rugs. I don't know. I saw it on Northern Exposure. I have no idea if it's true or not, but it was so beautiful on Northern Exposure that you just want it to be true.
No.
So whenever I say that one untied knot, that is a reference to. It is a reference by way of Northern Exposure to a presumed tradition in the weaving of Persian rugs that there will always be one knot that is left untied so that the rug will in time unravel. So anyway, just so you understand what's going on in my brain all the time. But yeah, so I really liked that. But I liked that adventure thing of the Hulk jumping in and saving people, yada yada yada. But I also felt that it was kind of, which I'm sure they did when they cut it. It's like, this is kind of unnecessary. It doesn't really establish anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, here's a CGI Hulk jumping around, And so its inclusion, I think, would have been better had they not done the rendering on top of it. Because not for nothing, I believe Russo is there in those scenes. He's usually they have these like little stilt legs he walks in when he's the Hulk. No, I've seen pictures of it.
You mean,
and it's like
you mean
Russo in like stilt legs.
You mean Ruffalo?
I'm sorry, what?
Ruffalo?
Oh, not Russo. Yeah, Ruffalo. Gosh, sorry, the apple juice is kicking.
No.
In my defense, S's and F's look very similar written out.
I know. Your eyes are going. I know.
My eyes are going. My brain is going. So yes, seeing Ruffalo walking in his stilts would have been a better scene. Mm-hmm. But of course, Ruffalo isn't actually doing the jump, so that's the only problem with that. So they have to show the Hulk jumping, and probably what they should have done is shown the Hulk jumping, and then when the Hulk was talking, have it be Ruffalo in his bodysuit. I think that would have worked better. But that's my opinion on that as an artistic choice. But that was the re-release of Endgame. People are saying it's not going to beat Avatar. I don't care if it ever beats Avatar. That was never actually anything I cared about.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure there are people that really like, you know what it is? And here's what I'm going to tell you. For Avatar people, that's all they got.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally all they got. They don't have a franchise that lasts decades. They don't have a cinematic history that has affected modern storytelling for ages to come. We made a lot of money at that one time. And so they really, so you know what? I almost say, you know what? Let's call it quits. Let's just walk away. Let them have it. Let them have that number because that's so important to them.
Supposedly they're working on sequels to those now, and it's like it's been at least 10 years since that first movie came out.
Yeah, and you know what? And not for nothing, Phil. You're gonna make a sequel to Avatar now?
Yeah, I know.
After honest trailers, after pitch meet's, after everything wrong with
a decade of
YouTube has
Yeah,
there's an entire YouTube industry dedicated to pointing out why this and many other films are flawed. And you're going to step right up now, 20 years later? Because that always works, that 20 years later sequel.
Spielberg is petty.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to tell you something.
Wait, is that...
Well, you know what it is?
Is that Spielberg or Cameron?
That's Cameron.
Cameron.
Cameron is who is doing Terminator.
Yes.
Possibly because he needs some money.
Or aren't.
I'm just saying the man walked away. No one was kicking Cameron out. No one was saying, Cameron, don't be a part of the Terminator franchise anymore. But he's back. He's back again. And I do think he needs some money because the man has expensive hobbies. You don't go to the bottom of the ocean for free, kids. That's what he likes to do, you know?
I know.
I'm not judging. Man finds amazing things down there. And, it is what it is. But, in fact, it's the entire plot to Future Man. So I can't deny, the greatness of, James Cameron for that, But I do think he's coming back, although I do love seeing Sarah Connor in the new Connor Chronicles. So all of that is good.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the Sarah Connor Chronicles. It's Terminator 23. I don't know, Electric Boogaloo, whichever one it is. So that's Avatar. Let them have it. That's all I can say is let them have it. I think that they're developing it because technically Disney owns the distribution rights.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Disney probably says, you actually are under contract for like 5 more films. What are you going to give us? Not for nothing. It's like, you got to give us something, man. You're under contract with us, so do something. Dance, Cameron, dance.
It's the age of sequels and reboots.
That's what Disney does. Yes, well, not for nothing. I mean, every film deserves at least one sequel. That's my opinion. I think that any film that was good enough to have one story should have a second story. I would love to see either the prequel to Citizen Kane or the sequel to Citizen Kane. Because although I will give you that since Orson Welles is no longer with us, you can say that was an Orson Welles property. You can't really touch it at this point. Cameron's still alive. He's got to do the work.
No.
Oh my goodness! But one thing I do want to talk about. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Yes.
I'm not going to give a spoiler, but I would like to talk about the anti-spoilers that were placed, presumably by Marvel, to confuse people about what was going on. No, they do not travel back in time.
I feel like you said that before. I remember you saying anti-spoilers. I feel like I just...
So, the anti-spoilers are... There were things that were put out there. One was a quote-unquote leak about the quote-unquote ends credits with the quote-unquote benefactor that, I'm going to tell you right now, did not happen. That was a fake spoiler from a fake person who wanted to fake spoil it, and he did not. So if you were saying, "Oh, I don't want to go see it now," it was spoiled for me. Trust me, it wasn't spoiled. That whole scene does not exist, and that guy was an idiot. And what anyone gave him or her, don't want to gender, or them. We'll say them because gender neutral proton. Why anyone gave them any credence is beyond me. Because the idea that someone who worked for a Disney film would jeopardize their future employability to leak a spoiler is ridiculous to me.
Well, it's like not to get too spoilery, but there is a line in the movie that, in a post-snap world, people will believe anything.
Well, yes. In a post-snap world, people will believe anything because a lot of people got snapped. That's not a spoiler at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of people got snapped. A lot of people came back. One thing I do love that does get called out, that I made a point of earlier, he's not really 21. He's only 16.
Yes.
It's like, yes, vindication. That said, almost all of my other theories were debunked.
Yeah. We're not going to go too deep into it here, but I told you, Mysterio is a master of misdirection.
Well, yes. Well, he is a master of misdirection, and he definitely misdirected everyone.
Yeah. But
and I loved that aspect of it. Now, and speaking of masters of misdirection, what Marvel brilliantly did is they sold toys.
Yes, that were misleading. Mm-hmm.
So they call the fire elemental Molten Man. They call the water elemental Hydro Man. You can look on the on the Lego. The Lego of the Hydro Man scene is called Hydro Man.
Mm.
And the water elemental scene is called Hydro Man. Me and Tristan just looked it up today. We were doing a shopping spree. Couldn't find any FNAF toys. So we're gonna go to the comic book store tomorrow.
Well, that's what I was.
But they really planted these seeds.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I think that's what I was telling you before. I think maybe Disney got the point. They're like, oh, hey, a lot of times these toys spoil stuff. So hey, let's steer into that and like pretend we leak some stuff and made like a map.
Exactly, and it was brilliant. And not for nothing, for a movie about Mysterio, it is so perfect when you think about it in aggregate. Because now no one's ever going to trust a toy release again. We're always going to be saying, wait a minute, you said Hydro Man was this. And previously they did say that old Hank Pym would be in an Ant-Man costume, and he wasn't. So it's like, wait a minute, maybe you're just sort of playing with our emotions here, you know? And yeah, sure, you showed us the Stark Tech Infinity Gauntlet, but you know, that was one time. Maybe you're always trying to mislead us, you know? So, yeah, I really love that aspect of it, that there is this misdirection in what they're actually showing us. That they're actually showing us stuff intended to misdirect us. Much in the same way as you pointed out earlier, you know, they kept on having the Hulk in the Infinity War trailer, you know? That there was the Hulk running in, and there's the Hulk, which got us into all sorts of fan theories about Endgame, you know. In fact, my famous one that I said, they're going to have the Hulk and Banner separated. They're going to do that story. They don't have time to do it. Here's the thing. Here's one thing I'm going to say about all of my theories. They probably don't have time to do that deep dive into comic book lore to tell that one kind of randomized tale about other characters. So
that's what I told you before. I think your theories are great, but I think they're too convoluted for those movies they do.
Yeah, I mean that's entirely true. That is entirely true. But I am really intrigued by the fact that Marvel, and I have to think that this was a conscious decision. I don't think it was an accident. I don't think it was like, oh, it's in an early script. It was Hydro Man. It was Molten Man. Yeah. No, I think it was like. Was it? Yeah, hey, call that guy Molten Man, call that guy Hydro Man. Yeah. You know, actually, I don't think they have one for the Sandman, which would have been there is a Sandman toy from Lego, but I don't think it's tied into Far From Home. Oh, although I have to say, this was like my favorite toy I saw of Lego today was they had, it was a Doc Ock Spider-Man fight scene.
Oh, yeah, with
Doc Worker, yes. Yeah, so you had Doc Ock and Doc Worker. And just all I could think about was the evil that Doc Worker might have.
Yeah.
Because it's at a pier. Who's Doc Worker?
He will attack.
It's Spider-Man, Doc Ock, and Doc Worker.
He'll attack you.
That's the other character you get, Doc Worker.
Will attack you with his union.
He's a stevedore. He will lift your luggage and drop it upon you. That's a crazy power. Oh, that would be telekinesis, but maybe it's only related to baggage. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the anti-spoilers. And like I said, here's what I'm going to say. I do think Spider-Man Far From Home is the perfect film to follow Endgame.
Yes, agreed.
I really think that this film, first off, it's just brilliantly made that even if it wasn't tied into Endgame, which one can argue it is a perfect film. Like, if I were going to start a phase 4, this is how I would start it. I think this really hits all the notes. I'm gonna say a lot of fans gonna love the return of a classic character at the end of this film. We thought he was gone, but he's back. Thought he was back. Oh, he thought he was working with DC, but he knew that ain't going nowhere. He's back where he belongs, and we are so happy to have him. And we'll talk about that on Sunday. 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock Sunday is our
Yes.
time?
Yeah.
Yes. Call time, 7 o'clock Eastern. People come to YouTube, see it live with all the swearing, all of the rudeness, all of the Mosmanzor that you can handle. I sure hope he shows up because I've been
pimping him.
But but that second that end credits scene, it almost makes up for the scene I didn't get, that I was so mad I didn't get with Zendaya, which we'll talk about again on Sunday.
Yes,
but the return of that classic character just makes you go, yes, this is why I go to Marvel movies, even when Sony's involved. Anyway, moving right along. You want to talk? Let's say we have two comic book. Well, as far as I know, we didn't talk about Old Man Quill and Immortal Hulk. Did we talk about those on Capes and Lunatics?
No, we didn't talk about them. No, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let's talk Old Man Quill for a minute.
Okay, number 7.
Man, Old Man Quill, number 7. Phil has it at home, so he'll put it in the notes later. I do not know what to take from this book.
Yeah.
And I have a real desire to go back and reread every single Old Man Quill I have, just to see if this works. Because this is some ending. Sixth Sense, kind of crazy. I don't even know if Willie Lumpkin was there. Okay? That's how confused I am right now.
Well, wasn't it like a holographic, it was part of the Baxter Building security system or something? Yeah.
Well, as far as we know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, oh, hey, it's Willie Lumpkin, you know.
Herbie was there.
Also, this is interesting. Going along those same lines, Doom is way more active this issue. Like, the last couple issues we've seen Doom, he's been kind of, lethargic, and we've been, thinking that he might not be Doom even in there, or whatever's left of Doom is quite desiccated, which almost, again, given what we've seen, makes me almost wonder, are these scenes actually happening, or is this the imagination of Quill?
Doom still doesn't say a word.
Does he not say a word?
No.
Dang, Skippy.
He moves, but he moves.
Man, I don't know what to believe. This is so messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Is there even a Hulkbuster armor in there? We do get the reveal that, yes, they are looking for the ultimate nullifier. They're at the Baxter Building. They get a Moloid attack. Or we assume they did. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. It's like we see people. We see Drax attacking Moloids.
Mm-hmm.
But man, what is happening here? Maybe there's even an argument that maybe the Moloids aren't even attacking. I mean, at this point, what are we even seeing?
Yeah.
It is crazy because. Okay. Spoilers. When we get to the end, we find out that there weren't any Guardians there at all.
Nope, just Quill.
That Quill's just been not so crazy this whole time. Oh, man. You know what I just realized?
What?
This is all Miracle Man. Fantastic Four #2. Powers of hypnosis, the most powerful power there is. Maybe not. But
somebody with illusion.
I loved this issue. This was a really great issue.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it profusely. Any thoughts on Old Man Quill #7, Philip?
Just like you said, it was really good, and I can't wait to see what comes next, because I think they still have a couple issues left. But was Herbie really there? You see Herbie the robot in the Baxter Building.
Was anything here? That's the thing. It's like absolutely. At this point we can't be certain of anything. Not for nothing, we don't know if Gladiator's there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, for all we actually know, and this would be a really sad way to end this series, is they cut back and it's just Peter Quill still in the space station. Just imagine the whole thing, you know.
Dementia or something.
He seems to have some kind of problems, I think. He might have, you know, not for nothing. I have to imagine human-level superheroes get, what's it called? Closed head trauma a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, that can take a toll, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Immortal Hulk.
Yes.
You guys talk about that, yes?
No,
Okay.
no, we didn't talk about it.
Yes.
We did not talk about it.
Man, yeah. You know, I mean, it's a good issue.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of feel like the premise is starting to wear thin, because I think we're not getting enough drama related to things. This kind of feels like a filler issue to me for Immortal Hulk. It's a great issue. Don't get me wrong. It's great. But I think about like what has progressed, where are we in the story that we're trying to tell? I don't feel like we get a lot of movement until the absolute end. And I kind of feel like that's just a setup for the next book to be a moving the story forward book.
Yeah, like yeah. What did you think about, you know, like the Hulk's version of Gamma is like almost magic?
Well, obviously, you know, I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, clearly this is a universe in which, you know, radiation has magical properties.
Yeah.
Radioactive clay controls people's minds, Philip.
I know.
Okay, you know, Dr. Doom just sent a big old chunk of radioactive clay to the Puppet Master, you know, which is just like a ridiculous thing to do, to say, hey, Puppet Master, have some radioactive clay. This controls people's minds. I sure hope you don't control mine with it. You know, and of course, it's radioactive clay because it was powered by Chthon at the base of Mount Wundagore.
Yeah.
You know? So this idea in the Marvel Universe that radiation opens doors is not so far-fetched within the cosmology they've already created. So once you create the not for nothing, once you create the cosmology where little guy becomes big guy, you've already kind of, and then big guy becomes little guy again. You've already kind of crossed a threshold. Although, fun fact, you can make a certain argument that the reason why Hulk and Banner have to transform back and forth is because when he becomes the Hulk, he's put energy into the universe that now must be removed from the universe so that you remain at a constant state. That Banner couldn't remain the Hulk forever, because if he did, then it would be a violation of physics. Because you can be the Hulk or you can be Banner, and you can transition between the two, and the net is always zero between the two for the matter energy released. So you can mathematically say energy is not created or destroyed because it all cancels out at the end. This actually works into a quantum physics idea that actually powers computers, where essentially you can get something to move to a higher energy state without actually putting the energy into it, and it's a thing. War Wagons I wasn't big on. It kind of strikes me as like a second generation Rock, if you remember Rock and Redeemer.
Yeah.
And is this guy supposed to be like fused to his tank, or is it he's just the driver of a hover tank? And then was the hover tank really supposed to defeat the Hulk? I don't know. They pull out Rick's body.
Yeah, I was gonna say they just yank Rick Jones out of the Abomination. I thought they were like kind of melted. They kind of melted them both down and like mixed them together in a blender or something. But yeah, they're just able to pull Rick Jones.
Yeah, and again, this is where it's kind of a convenient plot point. Especially the idea that he has coalesced enough at this point.
Yeah.
To be a body you can pull out. Although again, I gotta say, I love Gamma Flight. And I love the suggestion that Krell is mostly evil because he spends time around evil people and he absorbs evil. Like, the most evil Krell gets is because evil, which is interesting because it actually suggests that evil is a positive force and that good is a positive force.
Mm-hmm.
That rather than evil being the absence of good, it's actually just that there is an active evil and there is an active good and they're in conflict, which is a very Zoroastrian idea. But it does suggest the fact that basically everyone's just like, yeah, cool, Krell,
Mm-hmm.
You're a rapist, a murderer, or a thief. Why not? Just hang out with us. And he's like, yeah, cool, guys. I like hanging out with you. You guys are actually pretty decent people. I hang out with the jerks. I get kind of jerky, And Skeeter was never really a bad person. She was just, bullied and then got power. And then she, the only person she really hates is She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And then we got her little Beyonder scene at the end.
Oh, yeah. Or is that supposed to be an angel?
I mean, I'm sure it's not the Beyonder, though it should be.
I'm thinking an angel because they've been talking about hell and stuff. That's how I took it.
Well, except that would be fine, except that the angels are an established concept.
I know.
So I think this has to be like the one above all, or the Beyonder.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get our big post-credit scene.
Yes.
Who came back, Phil?
You knew it was coming. Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah. So what's great about that is now Cap's free. He's not dead anymore. He didn't kill him.
True.
Can't convict a man for murder if the guy's not dead anymore.
Although if the body's missing, are they just going to say, "Oh, someone stole the body"?
Yeah. Although for what it's worth, freaking Thunderbolt Ross is going to step forward and say, "No, Cap didn't kill me."
Well, yeah. I mean,
it was that other guy.
Yeah, but
I know who killed me. It wasn't Cap. Even if Cap did do it, he wouldn't think Cap did it because he's like, because he's a patriot.
But is he going to step forward right away?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Ta-Nehisi Coates is doing his story. Ewing is doing his story. And they're kind of like balancing, and I'm sure they're talking.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that I'm sure that the editor's like, okay, you guys have to talk because his plot line requires your character to be dead. You're bringing everyone back from the dead, so let's talk. Mm-hmm. Again, this is what Disney insists on. You have to have communication. You have to have an integrated universe. What differentiates Disney from Jim Shooter is Jim Shooter said it had to be his universe. Disney says, we don't care what universe you make, just make it one universe.
Yes.
So, anyway, that's where we're at. That's the comic books this week. Anything else tonight, Philip?
No, I think that's it because our big review's coming up on Sunday.
I think we hit 30 minutes, which is exactly. We have enough for one podcast here because I like to keep them short and sweet. Don't get me wrong. Because honestly, I like them short and sweet because I'm on trains. I'm doing things. I don't want to sit for 4 hours for a dissection of, race relations in 18th century Gaul. Though I'm sure that's fascinating. I don't want to sit for an hour to hear about it. So, Philip, in the meantime, if people would like to talk to you about race relations in 18th century Gaul, how can they find you?
I can always get a hold of me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And remember, check out all the Capes and Lunatics stuff. You can always check out Work in Progress, capesandlunatics.org.
And, of course, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way that our mothers and our fathers and our grandfathers and grandmothers once did, you can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when I'm not podcasting, and other things when I'm not podcasting. And they tend to schedule these things for when I'm podcasting. But still, I tweet when I can at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIE. ESSER. Look for the two E's in the middle.
Equality.
Bing. There we go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for connecting with us this week. Please, super connect with us again next. Good night.
Good night.
I don't know what's wrong with my headphones. I totally can't hear them. It's okay.
You can't hear what? His eyes, his ears.
I can't hear the music, but that's okay.
It's going.
I'm old, and my headphones are old probably too. I mean, I just got them, but they might be getting older as we speak. So